What's up? Welcome back. John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and I'd like to switch places with you because I don't want to review this movie. This is Freaky Friday. This is the original, the 1973 version, 78, 70 something, somewhere in the 70s. Jodie Foster made this with Disney. It's got Barbara Harris is opposite her. Not that familiar with her work. There were a couple people sort of in the supporting cast, John Astin, Dick Van Patten, I was a little bit more familiar with. Oh boy, I've never seen this before. I've seen some of the older Disney movies because I used to play on Disney Channel, so I've caught some of them. Even some of the older TV series, like Zorro and stuff like that, I used to watch when they were on Disney Channel back in the day. Like after a certain point in the evening, they would turn to Walt Disney, and they would show you the old shit. But sometimes you could also get the old animated movies too, which was really cool. But yeah, I never actually got around to seeing this until now, and wanted to do it because of Freakier Friday, and I was like, well, this has audio description, which it does, by Deluxe. It's narrated by Nicole Sansorella. I actually like the audio description for this better than the one for the Jamie Lee Curtis version. The problem is that for me, because of my sight journey, my blind journey, whatever you want to call it, I was able to see when 2003 Freaky Friday came out, and I've seen that movie a bunch of times, and the way that description is written is it kind of lands a lot of the jokes after the fact. So not my favorite track coming out of Deluxe, but this one feels like all of the things are timed well. This movie sucks. I hate this movie. I'm so sorry. I know I've just ruined your child. It's not that bad, but I mean, it is not. I did not like this movie. What a trip, by the way, to watch this and to think to myself, did the remake actually make this film better? Is this the reason why we like Freaky Friday? It's one of those things where it's like, it's a cool concept, but oh my God, I don't think most people have seen this movie. I think they've conceptually heard of Freaky Friday and they've seen it used, like the idea of body swapping. So body swapping there's even like a Fred Savage movie where he body swaps. So like the idea of it is cute, it's clever, and we like doing it. And this movie even plays around the same way that the remake does, with at the end where there's this suggestion that two other people might body swap, but in this version they actually do, and the brother and the father swap. So this is more traditional, and dad's not dead. So mom, played by Barbara Harris, is not looking to remarry because she still has a husband. And she doesn't have a job because women get in the kitchen. So this is one of those movies where it's embracing the idea that the woman's job is to stay home and do all this bullshit all day long. And Jodie Foster's little kid has to go off to school and do things like typing class. There is still that weird sort of dynamic where there's like a character that is supposed to like the young Jodie Foster, but then when Jodie Foster switches into the mother, he ends up having conversations with the mom. Like they still pull that off a little bit. This one is, I don't know, there's so many choices I didn't like in this movie. So it started off at the top. The fuck is at the beginning of this movie? What is that? What the fuck is at the beginning of this movie? What kind of crack? What drugs were you guys doing in the 70s? What was everybody on? What was it? Was it acid? If you haven't seen the beginning to this version of Freaky Friday, it opens with a musical number. Honestly, an atrocious musical number where they sing about wanting to body swap. And what makes it even weirder is it's the only musical number in the entire movie. So the movie decides to flex its muscles at the very beginning and be like, we're going to be a musical. But then they're not, because there are no other songs in the movie. I would have much more appreciated the opening musical number had the movie sustained and decided to remain a musical. But this idea that we have to sit through this weird opening song between Jodie Foster and Barbara Harris before we get to the actual plot of the movie, it's them talking about, like, I wish it could be you, wish it could be me. Like, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my Jesus. So, and finally, when they do body swap, it's, I mean, these two characters, it's very like, Leave It to Beaver. So the strife in this family is so low key. I mean, I feel like in this movie, if Jodie Foster's character had talked to her mom the way that Lohan does to Curtis, she would have been like knocked like through the front window of the house, because kids just didn't talk to their parents that way. They all talk to their parents and then like, oh shucks, mom, come on now, why do you think? It's still like one of those movies. So if Lindsay Lohan's energy had come into this film with like, Mom, you're ruining my life, Dad would have like thrown her through the roof of the house and been like, get out of here, you demon child, heretic. So you have to deal with that. Again, it's an odd energy to have, considering we've already made progressive films by this point. We've already done the whole, like, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. We've done, like, In the Heat of the Night. We've done, like, Rosemary's Baby. We've done, like, The Godfather. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've done, like, a whole bunch of other movies in around this time period that have suggested that we've sort of started to move away from Spin and Marty and Dick Van Dyke and those kind of things, but this still has that. It still very much is trying to be old Disney, but it's being at a transitional period where it's like they're trying to keep the good old days going. So she's going to go off to school. They're going to body swap, and then mom has to go to school, and then she's going to stay home and clean all day. And there's the movie. Therein lies the... It's not the whole movie, because the movie kind of goes off the rails because they realize that they need like a third act conflict, which I can't even... Like, the third act of this movie is just absolutely bonkers. So bizarre. It's so weird. And the film ends with like the dad going like, is anybody going to tell me what the heck is going on here? No, they're not. I'm sure for people who grew up with it, I've just ruined your childhood. But for anybody who hasn't grown up with this film, it's really hard to get. If you are used to the Jamie Lee Curtis, Lindsay Lohan movie, this is so far removed from that. It's so very different in tone, in humor, in the way that it's shot, in the way that the plot is laid out. Everything about it just is so wildly different. It's so very period that it's hard to get around it. Man, it's weird. It's such a weird film. It's a freaky film. I feel freaked out having watched it now. I don't think my life was made better by watching it, because now I'm sitting in a place where I'm like, okay, so I said I was going to do this and I did it. Now I have to review it or talk about it. But I cannot put on that fake face and be like, guys, this movie's amazing. I love this movie so much. This is like a classic. Like, this is an amazing classic. I can't do that. Every once in a while, someone's going to show me something from before I was born, and I'm just going to be like, no. I'm sorry, but no. No. if this has 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, I'm about to like blow people's minds because I could not. And there's something that's so weirdly demeaning about still in the 70s pushing this narrative of mom has to stay home and struggle with the laundry. And there's some weird jokes here too, where she has this housekeeper, right? So she isn't even expected to do all the house cleaning because she has a housekeeper. People used to do this. Like this was what middle class was. There used to be people who just came by and helped so that the women whose husbands went off to work all day didn't have to sit around and scrub floors and bathtubs and shit like that. No, there was another woman who came in and did that. But she did like I don't know, she did some cleaning, the lighter stuff. So she's incapable of doing laundry in this thing because Jodie Foster's character throws everything in the washing machine all at the same time, like rugs, clothes, shoes, just like everything is in the laundry at the same time, and then pours a ton of soap in there. That's like the gag. It was not Jodie Foster, but it's the kid that's in the mom at the time. So there's a joke about gin. About the housekeeper, I guess, has been accused of drinking the gin, but the housekeeper's like, no, your daughter's been drinking the gin. Anyway, I tried to like this movie, but I don't think you can, unless you grew up with it. I think this is one of those movies where, and I'm sure there are movies from my childhood too, that I'll stand up and be like, oh my God, I love this movie. And people younger than me are going to be like, what on earth is your problem? This movie is terrible. And there are movies from my childhood too that I've rewatched and I've been like, oh my God, this is not a good movie. But most of the time the nostalgia works. So I get that. So if you grew up with this movie, I'm so sorry. I've besmirched your whole way of life. And I would hate that if somebody came along to mine. Like if I watch somebody who's like 20 years younger than me, who's like, the Mighty Ducks are like the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life, I'm going to be like, who the fuck is this guy? What the fuck is this? So, I'm sorry. I'm just going to apologize because I didn't like it, and I can't force myself to like it, and I can't lie to you and pretend. Defeats the purpose of me being here. It's okay if you don't agree with me. I'm sure you don't. I'm sure a lot of people don't. I'm sure there has to be a reason why this film exists or endures, why anybody ever wanted to remake it. Because, you know, Disney's made a bunch of films that have never been remade. Although they're talking about remaking The Black Hole, which I think is hilarious. But anyway, that's a whole completely different story. The fact that they remade this successfully, and then that version became a musical, even though this one starts out with a musical number, like somehow this franchise has come like full circle. I don't know, but the audio description is fine. I mean, the audio description, none of the jokes are presented in the same way that Freaky Friday presents them. This is a very sort of easy to take, lackadaisical, family-friendly romp. It's not trying to be offensive or push boundaries or anything like that. Everybody just seems very genial and gets along. There isn't a lot of conflict, although they have to throw in this weird third act that doesn't even make any sense. I can't even describe it to you. I was just like, what is happening in this movie? What on earth is in this? It's like somebody watched. It's like there was a movie, and it was just the two of them swapped, and then they came home and they like went back. They were like, well, that was a day. And they went to sleep. And that was the original movie. And somebody was like, no, there have to be some crazy shenanigans at the end. Have you all not seen The Love Bug? We have to have something like some some wackiness. Where's the wackiness in here? So they wrote in like a wacky third act into a film that does not match the energy for the first 2/3 of it. So although there is a scene where Barbara Harris is at home as the daughter, um, and like it seems like everyone's in her fucking house. Like this woman has so many people in her house. She has like a neighbor. She has her angry housekeeper yelling at her. She gets her groceries delivered. So it's like a grocery delivery man. There's somebody even there cleaning her carpets. Like there's so many people in her house and they're all talking to her at the same time. I was like, this is really chaotic. But I guess this is to show you that housewives of the 70s had it hard too, because sometimes they had a lot of people in their house yelling at them at the same time, because nobody knows how to go in order. You know, they all just figure that if they all yell at the same person at the same time, that they can function and be able to answer all the questions. I don't know. I don't know how films used to work. I wasn't there. I was not a part of this production. I would have made a lot of different choices. But yeah, Freaky Friday, Disney Plus has audio description. I think that's a win. Anytime they actually had to go back and put audio description on something that was old, cool. Like it. So I'm having a hard time grading the film because it's not atrocious, but I also didn't like it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go. We're going rotten. I'm so sorry. I apologize for your childhood. I'm gonna give it a 4.2 out of 10. I really just did not like this movie at all, and I went into it expecting to love it. And I went in because I was like, oh my God, Jodie Foster and Freaky Friday sounds like an excellent idea. And I was like, what on earth is this movie? And I wasn't expecting the same, I understand that we are in a different time, but I don't think this film understands where it is. This film doesn't feel like it's in the 70s. This film feels like it's in like the 50s. And I think that's its problem, is that it's not of the time period in which it's shot. It's still trying to pull back on its old Disney values at a time where film is rapidly transitional. The 70s was, I'm willing to say it's the most transitional period for film. I mean, we're coming out of the Hays Code. We're heading into sort of a different era of movies. The 70s is, Vietnam War. People are reacting to it in different ways. Blaxploitation is the 70s. The 70s brings you a lot of the early horror hits, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the 70s. You have a lot of sort of groundbreaking, edgy films. Some that don't need to necessarily exist, but they do, are all from like the 70s. Like people were really trying to push forward in the largest leap possible. It kind of is like also at the end of the 60s, but it is largely the 70s. It's really transitional. By the end of the 70s, you've got films like Star Wars and Indiana Jones. So you've got these big blockbuster films. Jaws is the first summer blockbuster. That's in the 70s. So we've transitioned away from these things. We're starting to do things completely differently than what we did before. So for the fact that Freaky Friday is here, it's the same thing that like Black Hole has a problem in that it feels older than it should. And yet it released after Star Wars, but it feels older than Star Wars. Which is, I think, one of the problems with Black Hole is that it has a hard time fitting into the time period in which it was actually released. Arguably, this is also the era of no Walt Disney. This is also sort of like the darkest timeline for them in their animation studios. So it makes sense that their live action movies would also be stumbling a little bit through here, having a bit of a hard time, because this is also sort of where they have a lot of the sort of like the same skins and stuff where characters look exactly the same. They get kind of lazy, where you can see that the same bear that they used in Jungle Book is also in Robin Hood, you know, stuff like that. So when you understand the history of the time period, for Disney, it makes sense that this would not be good, but also it just doesn't fit in with the sort of forward motion transition of the time period that we're in. I think that's why it falls flat. So yeah, 4.2 out of 10. Sorry, I did not like this. Thanks for watching though. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.